Okay guys, we're coming into you real quick with just to go over, there's a leak of a bunch of the new cards that are going to be coming out in the new set. I assume a lot of them are going to be spoiled anyways this upcoming, well I guess they're going to be spoiled Tuesday anyways, but they're really interesting, and this is a good chance to talk about these before we do a segment talking about all the other unspoiled cards. So we'll get right into it because there's some pretty crazy stuff. So to start off, we have, and Paul, this is the only image quality we have, so throw that up here. We have the second special magic stone. So we had two coming out this set. The first was already spoiled. So this one is interesting. So it taps and it produces just a void will. So obviously you can't play any colors with it. However, it can produce one of any color will you want if it's playing a resonator with 2 or more attributes on it. So if basically any dual color resonator or more, you can use that almost like the Memoria. So I think that's extremely strong, especially with the sheer number of dual color decks. And I know like my decks, a lot of them run almost purely dual color resonators for the most part. So it's going to be really interesting, and yeah, I really like it. It's pretty cool. One thing to note, much like the other stone, it doesn't treat that card as any type of special magic stone. So it doesn't trigger once against resonance abilities, anything like that. Next we have Cheshire Cat Phantasmal Fighter. So this is a 1-cost resonator, 3/3 fairy tale, and it's Will of Hope, once again, to work with the other things. And you tap her to draw a card, and then you put her on top of your deck. So that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious what type of combos that might entail, because it's a trade-off. So she's going on top of your deck, so yeah, you're drawing her again. And I guess the idea is you play her and you keep drawing cards off of her or something, but then you're just drawing her again. So you're not technically gaining much ground. I don't know, I'm sure there's, I mean, in a deck that's pure blue and you're able to actually use all the draw power that was spoiled, I guess not too bad, but it's interesting. Next we have some of the support that Jordan was talking about that's going to be for Lilia's Petals. So this is Lilia's Petal Kitsumkin. This is a 4-cost, not sure what the attack and defense is, probably like 8/8 or something like that. Will of Hope. And when it enters your field, you can search your deck for up to 2 cards named Fox Spirit and put them into your field, then shuffle your deck. So I'll get into, once I get to Fox Spirit, why that's so good. And he also has the passive ability of whenever a Chimera enters your field, you can put the top card of your Magic Stone deck into your field. So you're getting to cycle more of your stones out faster on top of the Chimera that brings them out. So say you didn't want to play that Chimera as much just because he brings out 2 stones, but you don't really need them. But you still want to passively be bringing out some type of stone. You can do your Chimera to make them discard a card and still get a stone into play, so you're not having that much of detriment going on. Next is the Fox Spirit that he grabs. So this is a 1 green with a 0-cost ability that card gains darkness attribute in addition to its other attributes. So not only is this card good just in general for Fox decks, because you're able to treat it as the green or the darkness, whatever you need for his the Fox's ability to pay to play different Chimeras. But if you play that 4-cost Lilia's Petals, you bring them 2 in, and now suddenly you automatically have your tribute cost that you need to bring out a Chimera just by playing him in addition to his passive ability. So I think that's going to be a really good combo that a lot of Fox decks might run. Not all of them, but at minimum they'll be running that 1-cost resonator. Next, another resonator, Dark Alice, Manifestation of something, I don't know. But she's a 2-cost 5/5 Wanderer, so goes again in that Wanderer deck if you want, or pretty much in any deck really. She's Will of Hope, and when she enters your field, you remove all resonators in your opponent's graveyard from the game. So that's kind of a cool callback to the Dark Alice ruler and her ability. And for every resonator that's removed that way, you put a 100/100 counter on her. And when she leaves your field for a non-field zone, so it doesn't matter if she's going into your graveyard, removed from area, or if you're bouncing her back into your hand, some sort of combo like that, for every 100/100 counter on her, you get to put out a 100/100 Shadow Resonator onto your field. So if you have 5 counters, you get 5 Shadow Resonators onto your field. So I think that's a pretty cool, interesting ability. However, it feels sort of one-off, because once you do her for the maximum effect, if you play any more of her, it's just going to be diminishing the more you go on. But it's for 2 costs, it's still pretty good. The main thing though of her is she has a passive ability that releases the seal ability of all darkness cards and spells you control. So as we've been learning with the seal abilities, having that passive release is always extremely strong, and especially when we get into, I'll just go right to it, this card. So this is an addition, Neo Barrier of Shadows. So obviously a call back to Barrier of Shadows, except this is a 2 cost addition, and your opponent pays 1 void more to play activate abilities of resonators they control. So tap abilities, anything that requires you to do something to activate them, they have to pay 1 void more, which is pretty much a nice detriment. However, she has a seal of 8, so if you have the other resonator out already, it's already unsealed. And as someone pointed out, is if you are the turn 2 player, so you have your Energize, you call a stone call, and turn 2 you put out either the other resonator or this addition, and then turn 1 you do that, and then turn 2 you put one of these out, because the seal is your opponent just can't play activate abilities. Now the reason that this is kind of a big deal, both even if it just applied to resonators and things like that, and additions, different things that have tap abilities and you're not able to play those now, that's still pretty strong for a 2 cost. And like I said, turn 2 you could have this seal ability already activated. However, as someone pointed out, as of right now in the game, tapping your J ruler for a stone is considered an activate ability. So turn 2 they could get this combo out, and now as long as those are on the field, you cannot play any stones for the rest of the game unless you're running a green deck, and there's really no way to get around that. And even if you do have a green deck, it'd be really hard. Like say you have Heavenly Gust and you don't have it the turn that this is out, and they play a second one later on just to be safe, there's almost no way for you to get that torrent out because you only have 2 stones and you need those to play Heavenly Gust. So you got to figure out ways around it. There might be ways that they might be introducing. Someone might mention they might do an errata to either the card or some sort of update in the CR that'll count calling stones as something different than an activate ability in order to stop that combo from happening, but we'll see. It's pretty interesting. Next we have Alice, Girl of the Blue Planet. So she's a 2 cost, once again, Wanderer, Will of Hope resonator, and she has flying. Not sure what her attack and defense is, but probably not, she'll probably be a decent resonator just based on that. Being a 2 cost Will of Hope flying Wanderer is not too bad depending on her attack and defense. But she also has Seal of 4, and once that seal is broken, she actually is the first resonator ever to have a God's Art ability. So that's kind of cool. I'm not sure if, I'd be curious to find out, maybe this is obvious and I'm just overthinking it, but if the God's Art applies just to the resonator or to the game as a whole. So if you use her God's Art and then you play another one of her, you can't use that God's Art. That would make sense considering how good this God's Art is, but I'd still be curious. So God's Art is a 0 cost, and you get to name a non-magic stone card, and as long as this card is in the field, players cannot play cards with that name. So you could play her and then play, say, Seal of Wind and Light, and now your opponent, as long as she's on the field, they cannot play Seal of Wind and Light. Or you can name Bear Magic, basically anything you want, they can't play now. Which would be pretty funny if you randomly found someone playing a Croco Shark deck. But yeah, so she's pretty good, I think. And her seal is only 4, so even if you can't unlock it through another ability, turn 4, you're good to go. So next, so this is the last one. So there's 2 parts to this. So first, the card itself. So it's 2 cost. It's Charlotte, the Last Hope of Ataraxia, and she's a 5/5 wizard with Will of Hope, and you can pay 1 void less to play chance. Hey, Ward! So she's a 5/5 wizard with Will of Hope, and she has the ability you can play 1 void less to play chance. So that's already pretty good. Turn 2, you put her down, and that's able to cascade pretty quickly as the game goes on, I think. And yeah, it's not the best, but I think it's pretty good. And the interesting thing is that we also were shown this. So this is Charlotte, the Last Hope of Ataraxia, once again. And if I remember right, This is an alternate art Charlotte that was from the April Fool's Day gag that Force of Will did a while back, where they had, if you remember, they had done some apps or had pretended they're going to be releasing like dating apps, a music app, different things like that for Force of Will. I'll put the image up right here of what that image was. So you can see Charlotte's there in the corner. And so that's the art that's used on here. One thing to note, Ataracti is misspelled for some reason. Don't know if that's on purpose or not, but kind of funny. So as far as we can tell, that this is going to be the new secret card that's going to be in each booster box you buy. So when you buy a booster box or just buy a pack, there's a random chance that beforehand you would get a 4 CFC card, but it looks like now you're going to get a 4 version from one of these guys right here. So there's 5 total. I believe we were getting 5 of each type of card or some variant of that in the other sets. So that'll be kind of cool and interesting. So you have like obviously Prisha, Kaguya, Mariabella, and Alice, and then Charlotte. So that'd be pretty awesome if we got sort of alternate arts for all of them. So that'll be kind of exciting. It's not as crazy as some people were thinking the new secret arts were going to be, and kind of disappointed if it's not textured. It doesn't look like it's textured, so if that's the case, I'll be personally very disappointed. But okay, and right when I finished recording that last video, some more leaks came out, so I'm going to go over those real quick, a little bit more unorthodox here, just because I want to get this video out for you guys to look at. So the first one real quick is I can't read his name, but he's a 4-cost 9/9 human with Will of Hope, and he has the ability that he prevents the first damage that would be dealt to him as a resonator each turn, and he also prevents the first damage that would be dealt to you as a player each turn. So that prevents everything from the opponent swinging with a resonator to your face. It prevents that first damage or the first lightning strike, anything like that. So it's an interesting card. For 4 costs, I don't know how great that would be, but I'm sure there's ways to cheat it out or decks that it would work well in, that especially that might not want to be dealt too much damage or something. I don't know. Next we have Lars, Swordsman of the Deep. Dupe, I don't know. It's really hard to read these, that's why I'm not too concerned with quality right now. But so he's a 2-cost 6/2 heroic spirit with Will of Despair as well. He has swiftness and first strike, so that somewhat makes up for his low defense. But if you're worried about him being lightning striked or memory to Memoria or anything like that, that might automatically kill him. He has a 0-cost ability, which you switch the attack and defense of him until end of turn. So not only is he able to survive a lot of the times with his first strike ability, but he might be able to survive different spells and stuff that would hurt him defense-wise, because you could switch and have 600 defense temporarily. Once again, it's not too great of a card, but he's interesting enough. Next is Igdor. We got him back, so all you Wolf fans there. So he has 4 void, 1 green, 9/9 magical beast with Will of Despair, and you can play this card from your removed area. So that's always an interesting thing, being able to play him from your removed area, especially with some of these decks that, like World Tree, that is going to be basically work with its removed area pretty heavily. This is going to be an obvious slot in for that deck, and I'm sure some other decks as well. And he also has the ability of you pay 3 void less to play him if he's in your removed area. So yeah, obviously the 5-cost 9/9 is a little ridiculous, but making him a 2-cost 9/9 at least makes it halfway decent. Still not the greatest, but he's pretty good, especially since he can come into play and you can keep removing him from your graveyard to put him back for only the 2-cost. Next is Kaguya, Love of the Moon. So she's a 2-cost 6/6 Wanderer, so once again can slot into that Wanderer deck. Will of Hope attribute, and she cannot be attacked. So that's sort of a cool thing. You can swing in and not worry about them attacking her. She can just sort of sit there as a defensive thing or offensive. And she has Seal for 10 stones, and once that's unlocked, she gains +200, and flying. And she has the ability that if you would draw a card, you put a card from your graveyard into your hand instead of just drawing a card. And if a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, you remove it from the game instead. Even if you have no cards in your graveyard, you still do not draw cards, is the parentheses. So that's pretty interesting. So if you put her out and like it says, instead of drawing a card, you're able to keep recycling stuff from your graveyard. So once again, going back to the tree deck, that's good because you're not cycling through your deck as quickly. You're just recycling your graveyard and then removing those cards from game as soon as they go into the graveyard, which allows you to play certain abilities and effects from the tree as well. And she And once the seal breaks as well, her being a 8/8 with flying is also good as well. But yeah, I think she's good not only for tree, but obviously some other decks as well. Next, this one's a little interesting. So this is Mariabella the True Shot. I think we had talked about her before with another resonator that interacts with her. But she's 1 void, 2/2 heroic spirit. She has the ability to tap and put a 100/100 counter on her. And you can pay 2 and tap her to remove those 100/100 counters on her, or however many you want. And search your deck for a resonator with total cost X or less with no attribute and put it straight into your field. So, it depends on how many no attribute resonators is going to be going forward. Obviously, in the current time before rotation happens, that works really good in machine decks, and in Wanderer format that will be good. I'm curious what other things it might interact with that would make that good, but obviously she still gets the 100/100 counters. Even if you don't use the second ability, you're able to slowly build her up perhaps. Next we have Regained Heart. So this is a 2 void chant with quick cast, and you choose one. If you control 2 or more resonators with no attribute, you can choose both of these abilities. The first ability is to destroy target addition or regalia with total cost X or less, where X is the number of resonators with no attribute you control, or target resonator with no attribute cannot be destroyed until end of turn. So because of this is quick cast, you can target it if one of your resonators is being targeted for destruction, or you're in the middle of a battle and they buff up their resonator. You can do this in response so you at least don't lose it. And if you have are able to combo off by using both abilities, then suddenly you can destroy an addition or regalia that might be helping your opponent. So say you're doing battle and you're maybe, this is a terrible scenario, but you're about to trade with a J ruler and your ruler. I don't know, this is a terrible scenario. Point is, you can destroy stuff and not die. That's all I'm getting at. Next is Lumia, Preyfire for the Future. So she's only a 1 cost resonator, not sure what her attack and defense is yet, but she has Will of Hope and Resonance for light magic stones. So every time a light magic stone that has the wording that it's a light magic stone, want to keep in mind with those 2 special magic stones that came out, neither of those are considered magic stones by that definition. But for every light magic stone that comes out, target a card in your graveyard, and if it's a magic stone, you can put it on top of your magic stone deck, otherwise you put it on top of your regular deck. So this does a couple of things. You can either, if you need a card that was put into your graveyard and you want it back both to play again or just to keep cycling, keep from cycling through your deck, you can do that ability. Same with your stone deck. If you did, as we saw, there's a couple stones that cycle into your graveyard, both with Fox, and there's a couple others, or resonators that use abilities to destroy stones, different things like that. And so she's able to cycle those back in and put it on top of your deck, which is really useful, especially in a Fox deck if you're able to work yellow into there. Next, oh geez, we have Crimson Sanction. So she's a 1 cost chant. No quick cast, just a regular chant. However, so she deals 400 damage to target J resonator or 300 damage to target player. So pretty average, sort of a discount lightning strike. Extremely discount lightning strike, except she has a seal of 5, so once you have 5 stones or have an ability that automatically breaks seals, it basically makes her do whatever damage that is plus 400 instead. So now she suddenly does 800 to a J resonator or 700 to your opponent. Once again, there's no quick cast, so it's similar to Memory from Memoria, but slightly better as far as damage goes. Memoria does have that producing will effect. But that's pretty interesting and definitely really pretty as well. So next we have, the Cheshire Cat's Insistence. So this is a 1 cost chant. And you play with the top card of your deck revealed until end of turn. This turn you may play the top card of your deck. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, this card wasn't revealed yet, so I didn't know, but this would combo with the new Cheshire Cat. So you tap her, you draw a card, then put her on top of your deck. And so you play this card during that turn, and now you can suddenly play that Cheshire back into your field, so you're able to keep that cycle going.
Is it a she or he?
We don't know yet.
I mean, you're using she a lot.
Yeah, it's a discussion. But yeah, so that's sort of the combo going with Cheshire Cat you could do, and obviously this works extremely well in most decks anyways, because now you suddenly have an extra card in your hand essentially. Although your opponent knows what card that is, it's still nice to have. And lastly we have, or second to lastly, no, I already did this card. Lastly we have this chant that I cannot read the name of, but it's 2 cost with quick cast. And you choose one. of these, I think there's 3 abilities here. This, you can choose either to have this turn, if a Resonator would be put into your opponent's field without being played, remove it from game instead. So that's if it's being put into their field with an effect being played from the removed area, I believe, or any sort of effect outside of being played from their hand, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but something like that. You get to play that in response and it gets removed from game, and you draw a card. Or you can recover target Resonator you control and it gains 200 and barrier until end of turn, and then you draw a card. Or you can remove all non-Magic Stone, non-Jailer cards your opponent controls with total cost 0 from the game, and then you draw a card. So at minimum it's a 2 cost, draw a card, and you have 3 different effects to choose from. It doesn't have any prerequisite of if you have a certain number of things you can do multiple effects. You can only choose one, so that's kind of a downside, but all of the effects are really cool, have interesting ideas and things you can do that are very reactionary, especially things like giving barrier or removing total cost zeros from the game. Once again, it feels like feasting is being hard shut out. So different things like that is pretty awesome. So yeah, that's all the spoiler or all the leaks that we've seen spoiled so far throughout the day today. I hope I didn't miss any. I think I got everything, and obviously if any are leaked tomorrow, I won't cover those just because the following day everything's going to be released, so there's no point to, but this is sort of get you guys ready and get some of these big ones out of the way, so it'll hopefully be a smaller video when that kind of time comes. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think of these. There's some pretty crazy stuff going on, especially with the not being able to call stones combination. I guess we'll find out more this Tuesday during the Q&A. They'll be also releasing around that same time, I believe, all of the cards that are going to be in the set. So there will be a lot of questions. We'll not only have the Force of Will news covering that, but we'll also try and either within the Force of Will news segment or a separate segment going over all the cards that weren't spoiled to give you guys a quick rundown of everything so we're all up to speed. But yeah, see you guys next time.